Hey guys, welcome back to Rebel Media. This is going to be a history in under 5 minutes, and today we're going to be talking about Black Bart. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, when I hear the name Black Bart, I think of pirates, right? There's a Black Bart pirate. His name was Bartholomew Roberts, but we're not talking about him right now. We're going to be talking about another guy. His name was Charles E. Bowles. Okay, he was born in 1829 in England, and he immigrated to America. He came to New York with his family. They bought a farm there. Okay, so in 1849, Charles Black Bart and his brothers decide they want to get in on the gold rush action going on in California. So they head out there. It's not successful. Both his brothers die of illness real fast, and Charles stays out there another couple years, and then he takes off and ends up in Illinois. In 1862, he's back in Illinois, and he enlists with the Yankee Army, right? So he's really good at soldiering. He gets a couple promotions, and he participates in the Battle of Vicksburg, where he's severely wounded. I'm not sure how he was wounded. That information I haven't been able to find, but if you know, please let me know in the comments. But after that, he also participates in Sherman's March to the Sea, and then he gets out of the Army. Okay, so now after his time in the 116th Illinois Regiment, he's like, what do I do now? So he decides, you know what, I'm going to go back to prospecting for gold, and heads out back to California. He ends up getting into some sort of disagreement with some associates from Wells Fargo, and it really pisses him off. I think we all can relate to being pissed off at the banks. Well, anyways, he got pissed off about it, and he writes a letter home to his wife in 1871, and he tells her, listen, I've had it with these Wells Fargo guys, and he never writes back again, and she never hears from him again. So now at this point, his wife thinks that he's dead because he never writes back again. It's weird times. She doesn't know what's going on, so they must not have had a good relationship. I don't know what the deal is and why he would never write back to her again, but he never talks to her again from that point on. Black Bart's first robbery was on July 26, 1875. He hollered up at the stagecoach driver to throw down the box, and as soon as he threw down the box, Black Bart shouted into the woods, if he dares to shoot, give him a solid volley, boys. He obviously heard that in the Civil War. Well, the driver saw rifle barrels pointed at him and obeyed. But once he left, he went to inspect the bushes, only to find out that they were carefully rigged sticks. And he never swore. He was always respectful, and apparently he always carried around an unloaded shotgun when he did his robberies. He never wanted to hurt anyone. He just wanted the money. He was very stylish. He wore his duster jacket and his bowler hat. And the folklore that surrounds him is that he would leave a poem at the scene of the crime. And that's been spun into him leaving, a poem every time. There's an old Hollywood movie about him. But in reality, he only left 2 poems throughout his whole criminal career. Okay, so back then, people had handkerchiefs. And apparently they took them to the cleaners. Oh, that's pretty weird. But I guess the cleaners would mark them. And the cleaners marked it with FX07. And the Wells Fargo detectives were able to trace that down to the laundry. And he said, yeah, that belongs to a coal miner businessman. He lives in a modest boarding house down the street. And they started to figure it out. And then they looked at all his business trips that all coincided with robberies he made, and they figured out that it was him. So he was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in San Quentin, but he only does 4 for good behavior, and he comes out and he's deaf in 1 ear and he's haggard. It wasn't easy in jail. And they come up to him and they say, are you going to go back to being a stagecoach robber? Are you going to go back to crime? And he's like, no, gentlemen, I won't be doing any more. I won't be committing any more crimes. And they said, what about the poetry? Are you going to make some more poems? And he said, smiled. He's like, Didn't you guys hear what I just said? I won't be committing any more crimes. So the last sighting of Black Bart is in 1888 in Visalia, California, and he's staying at a hotel up there. And that's the last anyone ever sees of him. There's a bunch of theories on what happened to him, but the two most prominent ones that I found out was the Wells Fargo guys think he went to Japan and finished out his days over there. But there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he assumed, a new identity as a pharmacist in a place called Marysville, California, and there is a grave in Marysville that's marked with his name on there, and also Charles Wells. They think maybe this guy Charles Wells was really Charles Bowles, and his grave is there, and it can be seen today, but there's never been a DNA test on the remains, so nobody really knows for sure. But that's kind of the short story of Black Bart. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, wait, guys, wait. Before you go, I forgot to tell you the most important part. What were the two poems he said? So I'll read them to you real quick. Here I lay me down to sleep, to wait the coming morrow. Perhaps success, perhaps defeat, and everlasting sorrow. Let come what will, I'll try it on. My condition can't be worse, and if there is money in that box, 'tis money in my purse. And the other one was, I've labored long and hard for bread and honor and riches, but on my corns too long you've tread, you fine-haired sons of bitches. You can see why he didn't make any more than two. See you next time.